The day my banker told me no, I realized that my salary, my so-called security, was nothing but a golden illusion. For years, I had bought into the myth. A good degree, a permanent contract and a stable archivist position, regular paychecks. I was the epitome of prudence. I looked down on those who juggled multiple activities, these slashers as they're called. To me, it was a sign of instability, of chaos. My single source of income, solid and predictable, was my armor. I thought I was untouchable. Until that day. In this video, I'm not going to give you a magic formula. I'm going to tell you how the dismantling of that illusion forced me to build a financial fortress, not on a single pillar, but on several, intelligently connected. And how my greatest passion, which I believed to be utterly useless, became the cornerstone of my new security. Chapter 1: The Cracked Pillar. It all started with a simple water leak in my basement. Nothing serious, I thought. Except the expert revealed a foundation problem. A hidden defect, not covered by insurance. The estimate came down like a hammer blow, a sum I absolutely did not have, even with my savings. It was the equivalent of several months of my net salary. Logically, I went to my bank, confident. With my stable job, my impeccable record, a loan seemed like a mere formality. That's when the banker, after reviewing my file, uttered that simple but devastating sentence: "Sorry, with your current debt-to-income ratio, the answer is no, my existing mortgage blocked everything." My pillar, my single salary, had just cracked before my very eyes. It was large enough for daily living, but too small to face a real hardship. I was trapped by my own security. Panic began to set in. The idea of working overtime was ridiculous in my sector. Look for a second night job? I tried. After 2 weeks of combining my job with deliveries, I was exhausted, drained, and the money earned was a drop in the ocean. It was the worst strategy, exchanging more of my already limited time for a few extra bucks. It was a multiplication of fatigue, not income. Chapter 2: The Ignored Asset. Dejected, I took refuge in my passion, restoring old maps. It was my escape. A meticulous, quiet hobby that brought in no money and even cost a little in materials. One evening, an old friend, a collector himself, stopped by to see me. He found me hunched over a 17th century map, delicately consolidating the yellowed paper. I told him about my financial woes, my desperate search for a solution. He looked at the map, then at me, and he didn't say, "You should sell that." He said something that changed everything. "Don't you see? What you have in your hands isn't a hobby. It's a craft. A skill so rare that most people don't even know it exists. Your real asset isn't on your paycheck, it's at your fingertips." It was a jolt. For years, I had considered this passion an expense, a mere line item in my leisure budget. I had never thought that the value wasn't in the maps themselves, but in my ability to save them. My first instinct was to reject the idea. Who would pay for that? The market is tiny. But the seed was planted. I began to see my expertise not as a pastime, but as an untapped resource. Chapter 3: The First Brick, the Microservice. The key was not to think business. The idea of launching a company, with all the paperwork and risks, paralyzed me. My friend advised me to start small. Very small. He put me in touch with another collector he knew who had a single piece, a family engraving, slightly damaged. He didn't dare entrust it to anyone. I agreed to take it on, not as a business, but as an enthusiast helping another. I spent a weekend restoring it with painstaking care. The client was astonished by the result. He paid me far more than I had dared to ask. It wasn't a fortune, but it was a start. I understood the concept of the microservice, an ultra-specific, high-value-added service offering for a niche of enthusiasts. I created a simple profile on a collector's forum, showing some before and after photos. Requests started coming in, slowly but surely. A map here, a document there. Each assignment was a unique project, done in my free time, without pressure, and generated a significant supplementary income. It was the first income stream, built on pure skill, with no initial investment. And that was just the beginning of the real strategy. Chapter 4: Time Decoupled Income. What frustrated me was that even this new income stream still depended on my time. If I wasn't restoring, I wasn't earning anything. The goal, however, was to build something smarter. While discussing with my clients, a question kept coming up: what products do you use? How do you avoid damaging the paper? Not all of them wanted to entrust me with their treasures, but they all wanted to know how to care for them. The idea germinated. I spent several weekends meticulously documenting my basic techniques. The types of pH-neutral glues, methods for flattening warped documents, tips for storing items away from light. I compiled all of this into a simple digital guide, about 50 pages long, with clear photos taken with my phone. I put it up for sale at a modest price on a small online platform. The first month, I made 3 sales. The second, 10. Then, thanks to word of mouth on the forums, sales became regular. It was magical. I could be at my job, sleeping, or restoring a map, and a sale could come in. It was my second income stream, the first to be partially decoupled from my active time. Once the creative work was done, it lived its own life. Chapter 5: The Leverage of Trust. While writing the guide, I realized I was constantly recommending the same tools, the same specialized suppliers. Specific Japanese papers, archival glues, bone spatulas. Products difficult for the general public to find. Most of these suppliers had affiliate programs. At first, I was skeptical. It seemed too commercial to me. But I changed my perspective. I wasn't advertising. I was saving my readers time and energy by telling them exactly where to find the right materials I used myself. So I added affiliate links to my digital guide. Transparently, explaining that if people used my links, I would earn a small commission without it costing them any more. The reception was incredibly positive. People were grateful to have direct and reliable references. This third income stream was small at first, a few euros a month. But it grew proportionally with the number of guides sold. More importantly, it was based on the trust one had built. It was an ethical income stream, aligned with my passion and useful for my small community. It was proof that one could create revenue streams without ever feeling like they were selling. Chapter 6: Human Connection as an Asset. The emails I received became more numerous. People asked me detailed questions, showed me their projects. Digital was good, but something was missing. One day, a guide buyer wrote to me, "I've read your book, but I'm too scared to start on my own. Would you ever organize a course?" The idea of an online course seemed too complex to me. But an in-person workshop? I rented a small room for a Saturday, limited places to 6 people to ensure quality, and offered a practical introductory day to paper restoration. The price was much higher than for the guide, as it included my time, my live expertise, and materials. All 6 spots sold out in 48 hours. It was an incredible day. The energy, the exchanges, the joy of directly transmitting my expertise. It was infinitely more rewarding than working alone. And financially, that single day represented the equivalent of several dozens of sales of my guide. This became my 4th income stream, a quarterly, high-value workshop that didn't cannibalize my other income but, on the contrary, strengthened it. Some participants then purchased my restoration services for their most precious pieces. The system was starting to become a true ecosystem. Chapter 7: The Smart Fortress. Let's look at the situation. I still had my archivist's salary, my initial pillar. This was my 5th income stream, the most stable one, covering my fixed expenses. Alongside it, I had 4 other streams. 1. Restoration microservices, active and on demand. 2. The sale of my digital guide, passive. 3. Affiliate commissions, passive and trust-based. 4 quarterly workshops, active and high value. The beauty of it was that these streams weren't separate. They fed into each other. The workshops generated clients for the services. The guide attracted participants for the workshops. The services bolstered my credibility and drove guide sales. It was a synergy, not a mere addition. My security no longer rested on a single fragile pillar, but on a network of smaller, interconnected pillars. If one month, I had no restoration requests, guide sales and affiliations continued. If online sales dropped, the next quarter's workshop compensated. The pressure on my main salary had completely disappeared. I was no longer anxious about an unforeseen expense. I was able to finance my home repairs without any credit. The deepest lesson wasn't financial. It was transforming a useless passion into an ecosystem that not only brought me financial resilience but also gave new meaning to my skills. True wealth isn't having a big salary. It's knowing that if one stream dries up, several others keep flowing. That's what creating smart income streams is all about. It's not a frantic race. It's an architect's work. Follow us for your dose of business motivation. Don't forget to subscribe.